Who gon' take it there? 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 Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in the air. 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 It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility.
All right, so after this shooting happened in Minnesota, this ICE shooting of a woman citizen in her car who didn't do anything wrong, didn't have a weapon or anything like that. Tensions have been rising. People have been doing their commentary as well as different videos coming out about it. A lot of people witnessed this. It was in the middle of some type of operation that was happening. People were observing it both on the street and in these cars, which is what this woman Renee was doing. So I'll get into some more details about what happened as far as I can tell. Asmongold and Hasan got into this a little bit, just Hasan popping up in Asmongold's chat, because Asmongold obviously immediately jumped out to defend this. This guy is basically a Nazi-esque kind of degenerate who likes to revel in pain and persecution of leftist minorities, people that he views as non-valuable humans. He kind of revels in that like a typical reactionary right-winger. And so he immediately jumped out and started defending this ICE agent, saying she was trying to kill him, she was trying to run him down. That's exactly what JD Vance was saying. And so Hasan was popping up in his chat to contradict that a little bit. So in this, you see the reactionary instinct of Asmongold as well as the goalpost moving. And then after that, I'll show you Hasan's way of talking to some of these people that are on the ICE agent side, on Asmongold's side, about this and about, you know, what this means in terms of like authority and the fabric of society, like why they shouldn't support this. So obviously we can assume that's falling on deaf ears, but it's still, I think, an important argument to make. And really, I just think these two should debate. I think that Asmongold should nut up about it, because if he's going to talk to Hasan, he should just talk to Hasan. But we'll get to all that. So here's the clip of Asmongold first.
Is there an instance where you don't automatically defend ICE kills? Yeah, I would say if they're not trying to kill the officer, I would defend it. Yeah, sure. I'd say I wouldn't defend it. Yeah. ICE has no legal authority to ever even detain American citizens, by the way. Learn the law. And as far as I know, it's against the law to try to run over somebody. And also, here's another thing. I'll ask Hasan one more question. How do you justify that she wasn't trying to run him over when the wheels were spinning forward and he was in front of the car? Show the slow motion and walk us step by step. Show the wheels turning to the right. If someone was trying to kill the agents, their wheels would have turned to the left or the right. I don't think that she was trying to kill the agent. I think that she didn't care whether she hurt the agent in the process of her escaping. And then he shoots her. There it is. Man. Too bad, huh? Too bad.
Yeah, so he starts out by saying that if you're trying to kill an ICE agent, then I support that ICE agent killing you. Makes sense. He said he wouldn't support ICE killing someone if that person wasn't trying to kill the ICE agent. That's what he said. So then he watches the video a little bit and sees that she did not try to kill him. And so he even admits that. I don't think she was trying to kill him. I think that in the process of escaping, she might have hurt him. She didn't care if she killed him, but that's not what he said before. The important thing there is that the goalpost is moving. They're saying the justification for killing this woman was that she was trying to kill the ICE agent, but then it becomes she was trying to get away. She wasn't complying with his orders. She didn't care about the ICE agent enough. That's not the same as trying to kill somebody. So the reality is this happened in a split second. There's only so much value in breaking down all of the different angles of this, literally and non-literally, outside of a courtroom. But here's a little bit of what Hasan had to say in talking to some of the people who were supporting this. He's just bitching at some chatter here, but I thought it was a decent note that he strikes here because he's talking about why they shouldn't want this in the first place. Obviously, we can assume this is falling on deaf ears, but his assumption here is that there's a lot lot of quote unquote normies out there that don't really like this, don't support it, and it's possible to speak to some of those people and, you know, turn them against the Trump administration that way.
You no longer understand that in order for America to continue being a society, we must repair the social fabric. And power tripping cops like this being defended is actually disruptive to the social fabric. And in an anarchist situation, you will not be the one who will be and pillaging, okay? BlackRock, Blackwater, and Blackstone mercenaries will be the ones who will be and pillaging and drinking blood out of your skull, okay? What makes you think that if the tide shifts and there's full-blown anarchy and the social fabric falls apart, that you will somehow magically win? You will not. What I'm saying is, what you are advocating for is your own demise without even realizing that you're advocating for your own demise. A society that justifies state-sanctioned murder like this and tries to section off, to cordon off who is appropriately in the crosshairs and who's pulling the trigger in this way cannot continue. That's it. That's it. We can't continue like this.
All right, so like I said, I think Asmongold and Hasan should debate. I think if Asmongold is going to talk about this shit, and he's going to talk to Hasan about it. It's one thing if you want to ignore him and you say he's a dangerous terrorist supporter, so I don't want to boost him, but you're all literally already talking to him on your platform. You talk about him all the time. So you might as well just have a debate with him. But if they're going to debate, I don't think they should debate about the specifics and the details of this video. I think ultimately it's pretty straightforward. The reality is that what this is about is authority and police and how they behave. And so that's why the point that Hasan is making is important. And that's even before we get to a larger point about how the structure of policing works. Let's put that aside for a second and just talk about this as a method of policing, what these ICE agents are doing. So what Hasan is saying here is that to think that you can have police acting like this and that it's only ever going to fall along the political lines that you are excited for it to be falling along is incredibly naive, because historically that's not how this kind of thing works, and that's just not the nature of authority. These guys are throwing their authority around because they've been given the ability to do so. And it does ideologically align with a person like Asmongold, who wants to see immigrants treated poorly, wants to see people who support immigrants treated poorly. But ultimately, the reality of this style of policing is that virtually anybody could end up in this position. Because what these ICE agents are doing wrong is they're confrontational and hostile, and they're not protecting themselves as they do it. And so if this guy was in danger of being run over by this woman's car, especially considering the fact that she wasn't trying to run anybody over, and we can see that from the video, even if he can't see it, he put himself in a position to be potentially run over by this woman's car. And didn't have to. There was no need to. The only reason he did is because they were all trying to intimidate her. They surround her and they're trying to, I don't know what they're going to do, drag her out of the car. That's what they've been doing. In a situation like this, whether it's in traffic, it's some immigrant they want to arrest, or somebody that they feel like looked at them the wrong way, they'll smash your windows in, they'll try to grab you up, grab you out of your car. So if you see that happening to other people, and you see these ICE agents approaching you this way, and you know that even people who comply with them get dragged around, treated like shit, and thrown on the ground and abused, and that there's no accountability for that whatsoever, why wouldn't you panic and want to get away from that police officer? This is not a police officer in uniform. This is a person who's in plain clothes, who is not identifying themselves. They have aggressively asserted that they don't have to identify themselves. And the point is that these are federal agents, and ICE exists to fill a certain gray area where there are a police force that is able to operate within the boundaries of the country and arrest and deport people. They facilitate deportations. It's customs enforcement. And so that means that it is a certain gray area that they exist in where they can get away with a lot. So Trump has taken the reins off of that, and they have used it to turn it into this sort of paramilitary force that really just acts on the whims of the president's political agenda. If they told them, immigrations enforcement, to start going after white leftists or Twitch streamers that the administration doesn't like, they would do it. They would do it first, and then they would make the arguments in court later. They would try to justify it. They would deal with it later, but they would do the action first because that's how they've been operating. And what that means is that they could go after virtually anybody. And if you're somebody who's a follower of Asmongold and you don't see that happening to you, notice how he's moving the goalpost here and how J.D. Vance is moving the goalpost and other right-wingers are moving the goalpost. And ask yourself, how far does that goalpost have to move before they would justify your death? It's really not that far. Because this is J.D. Vance we're talking about. So let me give you a quick hypothetical. Let's say under this power structure that Donald Trump has created, Donald Trump dies. He's no longer in power. Who would be in power then? J.D. Vance would. A lot of people on the right like J.D. Vance less than Donald Trump. So let's say that you oppose the, war policies of J.D. Vance when he's the president and you speak out against that. That, under the trend that we're on now, could make you a terrorist. They came out immediately and said that this woman is a terrorist. And if we are not able to oppose publicly and openly what agents of the government are doing, especially federal agents that are coming into states and cities and towns with no accountability, if we can't protest that, then we have no rights at all. You have no rights at all. Right now, things are in a position where it seems like you've got things under control. The people that you want to be in power are in power, but it's not going to be like that forever. These things can shift fast. And one of the lessons that we've learned from Obama is that even a president like him, he was using ICE as well. And as the right likes to say, he was deporting more people than Trump. I don't know if that's still true, but the point is that Trump uses ICE a lot differently than Obama did. But Obama created a lot of the infrastructure that Trump is now using. And the point is that even if you guys establish a forever government, you don't even like everybody that's in the Trump movement. So all it takes is taking one step over to the next guy, and all of a sudden you have a completely different government operation. How do you feel about Marco Rubio calling the shots? And so that's why we're saying that these immigrants are a reflection of everybody. The way they treat these immigrants is how they would treat everybody, you, your mother, and the fact that they're not citizens or they aren't citizens yet or they aren't good citizens, whatever it is, whatever the metric is that makes it so that these federal police, unidentified federal police, are allowed to treat you this way, that eventually is going to come back on every person who advocated for it, especially the poor and the working people who advocated for this. That state power is going to be turned against you because this is just exercising power for the sake of power. It's violence for the sake of violence. He turns his gun and shoots at her because he doesn't want her to drive away from him. He wants to assert his authority over her. And again, this is no longer some illegal criminal alien that we're talking about, even though that person shouldn't be shot in the face either. But what's happening is that Trump is sending these agents into Minneapolis and Minnesota because of these fraud allegations that have happened recently. And so they're not doing an investigation. They're not spending your tax money to go and investigate what happened and try to figure out the fraud. They're just going to say, we're going to put boots on the ground to grab any person they can, any brown person they can, anybody who's filming, just grab them all up and arrest them. That's what these ICE agents are doing. And so that has escalated things there because people are upset that you're arresting their neighbors and their friends and their community members. So that's agitating the communities, and it's putting the people of Minneapolis in dangerous positions, and it's putting these agents in dangerous positions if you care about them, because they're not well trained. They're trained to be aggressive. They're told they can get away with whatever. And they're told that it would be justified if someone's trying to drive away from you, even though you have no indication that that's a person you're supposed to be arresting, because as Hasan said there, they don't have the right to arrest American citizens. That's important. So they've been trained that rather than letting someone get away from you and disobey an order from you, you might as well shoot them in the face, because they have to be the ultimate authority. And so Trump is going to continue turning up the temperature and creating these incredibly aggressive situations in residential neighborhoods. So that's agitating people, and it's leading to a situation where a pretty normal woman who was opposing what ICE was doing, but wasn't being aggressive at all, gets shot in the face. And that's going to keep happening more. So the meat grinder is being turned on. This is what fascists do. They want to try to run as many people through the meat grinder as they possibly can. And I apologize for the vivid language, but that's where we're at. Even if it stops tomorrow, it's still true that people are starting to get killed because of this, and it's not going to stop tomorrow. So the resistance to ICE needs to continue. And if they're going to start opening fire on people, let them do it. And I don't say that to say let them kill us. I think that what people should be doing now is building up your defensive capability, knowing what to do if things get extremely intense, knowing how to protect yourself, whatever that means for you, where you're at. Just explore those possibilities, explore it with people around you if you possibly can. Have a plan for what to do and how you can depend on each other, and also maintain a more meditative mindset about what happens after this and what the consequences of ICE behaving in this way should be. And it's okay for you to think about that, even as an average person, because the average person needs to be able to articulate that going forward. And both of these things need to coexist, because the reality is, since the meat grinder is being turned on, virtually anybody could find themselves in it. And so everybody needs to be prepared for how to behave in that scenario and how to behave if you're on the outside and you're trying to stop it. And these are two things that are going to happen simultaneously, and people need to be ready to inhabit the role of both direct confrontation, which will come as a result of defending one's community against federal thugs, but also a more diplomatic role to explain this to people. Because if people see that the community defense is coming from leftists, and that the net of people that ICE and the government is going after is increasing, and those leftists are the ones that have a plan and have ideas about how to do government better than this and how to come out better on the other side of this, then that will be an opportunity to take power back from these fascists.
Me too close to, too much to do, the mission is too crucial. Shout it out from the rooftops until I lose vocals. Who gon' take it there? 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 Electricity, 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 electricity.